going on, y'all? Welcome back to the chaos. We've linked up with Paul today because we're going to be tackling a little project on his Bullitt. So give him the run through. What are we doing? What kind of parts we got? What are we swapping out?
All right, so bought the Bullitt, and it's not exactly compliant for emissions.
Because darn EPA has to bring the fun away, so...
Yeah, so you gotta have cats. This came without cats, straight X-pipe. Of course, you know, sounds great and all that stuff,
amazing.
But have to make a change. So I ended up getting a BBK branded X-pipe with cats to go along with the BBK long tubes. So we're gonna go ahead and throw that on, and then also try and figure out the O2 sensor situation there. Lots of wires, lots of plugs under there, not exactly connected to anything. So gotta figure out what's what, and then hopefully hook everything up. Likely have to plug in the SCT tuner to get the O2 sensors turned back on, and then hopefully I can take it somewhere and get it inspected.
As long as he's not throwing code. So there's 4 O2 sensors total on the vehicle. 2 upstream, kind of connected to the headers, and then 2 on the X-pipe itself. So active or on the car right now, set of 3. So the 2 upstream we won't be touching. The one in the X-pipe's gonna have to come out, and they'd actually have like a little block off plate to just run 102. That's kind of one of the mystery puzzles we might be figuring out today, is like the way that they have the BBK holes drilled in the X-pipe. They are mighty close to wanting to cross.
Don't cross the streams.
Can we run 2 O2 sensors, or are we gonna have to just run 1 with a block off plate? So to be determined. But yeah, that's what we're getting up to today, is unfortunately making it hopefully not too much quieter, but I think it'll quiet it down just a little bit. Hopefully it'll retain that same tone and aggressiveness. Yeah, but maybe just a touch, few decibels quieter. Thank you. Yep, so let's jump into it. These are where your O2 sensors plug into, but you'll notice, I mean, the O2 sensor sticks out about this far. So we're trying to figure out, that's gonna be a dilemma once we get the old X-pipe off. It's making sure, are we actually gonna be able to use 2 O2s or just the one and plug this guy over here, or vice versa?
All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is take off the O2 sensor that is in place, and we're gonna test fit it to make sure that it'll work with the new Cadet X.
Paul's pulled out the O2, and then he's got a new one, and we're hoping that they will be able to not cross each other. So the actual, I don't know if this is, we're not sure if this one is OEM or not, but it's a little slimmer profile than the Bosch unit that we picked up. It's gonna be close.
Oh, not quite.
Oh, they touch?
They touch.
So the answer is either gonna be try to find a slimmer O2, so that way they can cross, or probably easier is to get a plug for this hole. Didn't make it very far without a little chaos, but that is the name of the game. It's the way it always goes. So a little parts run is in store. Luckily, a local auto parts store has a cap, so I think that's just the best approach. Kind of wait it out, and that's just gonna be the fastest, easiest. And I mean, really, I think the only O2 sensors that truly matter are those upstream ones. So even if they show up inactive when he goes through like the sniffer test at the DMV, it should still pass inspection. Like visually, it'll have the cats and everything. So I don't think they're gonna give him a hard time. So I think capping it, I told him if it were my car, that's what I would do. So you all know me, I like to throw the cats out the window. So that's just my philosophy. But EPA comes to knocking, he doesn't want any problems, so I get it. So we're gonna run to the auto parts store and get a plug. Parts run was successful, so we were able to avoid the chaos, and we've actually picked up a little plug. So this little guy is going to be a lifesaver that would just plug one of those O2 sensor holes and allow us to actually finish the install today. And during our trip to the auto parts store, I actually learned, and we were kind of thinking about, you know, because when we plug this hole, we don't have a welder, we don't have the skills for that yet. But how, you know, want to throw some Loctite on there just so that way our plug doesn't back out. And it's good to know it's actually good. Loctite's good up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So that'll be perfect for the exhaust. So I told him if he gets hotter than that, he probably has bigger issues. So, but the Loctite will hold that bung in place. We got all the parts we need now. So now we can get the old X-pipe off to then get this brand new BBK catted version on. Big difference. So obviously on the right we have the old X-pipe, no cats, and on the left the BBK with cats. So I'm curious to see what the difference in sound is between the two. But we've just got it kind of roughly test fitted up there, but that's where it's going to sit. So now it's just a matter of bolting everything back together. Chaos update. So we've hit 2 snags. One at the bottom of the header where the X-pipe bolts up. There's not enough threads with the bolts that we have. So we were trying to stuff washers in there and everything, and like it was just gonna be a little janky. So it's just better to go, because none of this stuff came with hardware, surprisingly, but it'll just be better to run to the parts store. Again, they're getting to be our best friends today. But to get the correct length bolts with the correct threads. So that was Paul's issue up front near the headers. Me downstream kind of bolted into like our axle back system. The problem there is when he was putting it on the lift, the orientation of those exhaust fasteners, they were oriented where the car is pretty low. So it snagged one of those downward facing bolts and bent it. And so it worked for a while it was tight, but now that we've had to loosen it and try to get it back on, it's not tightening. So we need a couple bolts and an exhaust flange hanger. So off to the store again. This is one of the issues that I was dealing with on the back side. So clearly you can tell this on the right is what it should look like, and this is where it went crunch when trying to get it on the lift. The got just hung up and bent sideways. So it worked when it was tight, but getting it off and putting it back on correctly, not so good. So we've got a replacement in store. Good news is we don't actually have to take the whole X-pipe back out. So we're just trading out that one exhaust sleeve, be able to get that tightened up, and then we've got properly threaded bolts for Paul's end up near the headers. So everything's kind of still in place. So now it's just a matter of sliding that, getting that exhaust slip joint over, tighten it down, and then Paul tighten his 4 nuts down. We overcame the chaos, and once you actually have all the right parts, nuts, bolts, exhaust flanges, everything went smoothly. So that's how it should go. And again, that's just the part of the process. Name of the game is you just overcome, adapt. But at least we got it done right one time instead of having to like hodgepodge it together, come back at a later date. So I think this, yeah, we should be good. Never have to touch this again, as long as we don't have any exhaust leaks. But now comes the fun part. Paul's gonna lower it down, fire it up, get a cold start, and we should be able to compare this cold start decibel level to the previous. So if you haven't checked out that video, Paul and I did a rev battle, so I'll link that down below, but we got decibel readings from all the catless stuff. So now we'll be able to compare it and see if we lost any decibels or if the tone changed via catless to catted. the results are in, and Paul has not lost a step whatsoever. So it is still insanely loud, and I love every bit of it. So now it's at least legal. That was the whole key. That was the whole purpose of this whole venture, is to get him road legal, be able to pass, make the EPA happy, yada yada, whatever. But I was afraid in doing so that you would kind of lose a little bit of those decibels. Not at all. So going through the numbers from last video where we did our rev battle, so the peak cold start previously was 112.6, and it did drop it, so it dropped to the 105.8. But again, to your naked ear, it about blew me out of the garage. I mean, it's loud. So yes, the decibel meter picks it up, but I didn't notice it at all. And then when it does drop down to idle, it is so close to previous. So we went from about an average of 99.9 to 99.1. So about a decibel lost, but you can't notice that, I mean, at all. So I'm curious to see, once the motor's cold, so he didn't peg it out. I am curious to see like what the peak was, because before it was like 131, 132, whereas in comparison my car peaked out at like 129. So I still think it's going to be louder than mine. My car, no cats. His car now with cats, and I guarantee you it's still louder. Yeah. So we'll have to do that in a future video, but it's loud. That's the moral of the story. He's still waking the dead, still waking the neighbors. He's not sneaking out of here anytime soon. So
pretty sure those cats are just for show.
Pretty much. So I mean, like, because they are high flow cats,
yeah.
Right? Like, so I mean, there's not much to them. It's just enough to appease the EPA, and that's all there is to it. So I'm very pleased for him. Luckily, once we had all the parts, this was a very easy install. So as it should be, if you all decide to throw a Cat X-pipe on your car, it shouldn't take you, once we had everything together, 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was insanely easy with the right parts.
That makes all the difference. Avoid all the chaos, make sure you have everything ahead of time. But I'm extremely pleased for the way it sounds. I don't think even Paul was mentioning it, maybe took a little of the rasp out. So
yeah, I mean, it's tough to tell from the driver's seat, but you know, once we get going on the road, we'll be able to tell. But yeah, it seems like it just smoothed it out just a hair.
Yep, love it. But I appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button, because here at the KX Car Club, we're exclusively unexclusive. We love everything from American Muscle, Mustangs, JDM, exotics, you name it, it's got a motor, it's right up our alley. Thanks again, we'll catch y'all on the next one.